Hello everybody. Today I'm going to give you a tutorial of how to set up an integration between Kion and KeyCloak for user authentication. So first you'll notice that within our Kion Success Center, we do have an article that will walk you through this for KeyCloak integration. And this will work with both encrypted assertions or unencrypted assertions, and I can show you the setting that will change that. Specifically, I'm going to show you today against KeyCloak version 16.1.1, as well as Kion version 3.6.1. This information should stay the same as both tools update, but let's go ahead and get started. We're going to begin inside of Kion. And so here I have my demo environment. I'm just going to log in as the administrator. And we keep all of our identity management systems on the left side under users here. So what we want to do is go ahead and create a new IDMS or identity management system. The type is SAML. So we'll go ahead and do that. Here we're going to give it a friendly name. This name is what folks are going to see on the login page of Kion to click into it. So we'll call it KeyCloak. And then we're going to grab some different pieces of information here to sort of pass back and forth between the two tools. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one started, but I'm going to head over to KeyCloak and essentially pick a realm that I want to be installed in. Obviously, you can use the master realm. I made a new realm. Ultimately, it doesn't matter too much here. But what we're going to do is within the realm, we're going to grab the SAML 2.0 identity provider metadata. And so this here, we're just going to copy it in its entirety, and we are going to post that metadata here inside of Kion. Now, whether you want to grab it here or back from the tab, you'll notice a tag here called entity ID. What we want to do is we want to grab that entity ID. So essentially, here's where we can see auth realms, and it's realm 1 as I chose there. The %20 is the Unicode of a space. But you know, if you're using master, this one may say realm/master. And we're going to go ahead and bring that here and throw that into our entity ID. So once we've got that, I'm just going to go ahead and save. We're going to come back and add some assertions and things later, but let me just go ahead and create the IDMS here. Oop, I'm sorry. I do need to put the assertions in. And so what I'm actually going to do is grab back from the article. I actually give you the default assertions for a number of things here. So we just did step 4, we pasted the entity ID in. Now we're going to grab the name ID format. So I'll actually paste that inside of Kion as well. So name ID format, grab that. And then I will paste in each of these assertions as well. So ultimately, this is the name of the assertion for first name, the name of the assertion for last name, and then I'm using the same thing for email and username here. But I can show you there is an optional setting to make this more friendly later. But let me just go ahead and copy these in. So there's first name, last name, email address, and username. And these are the assertions that we need in order to create a user here. So now I can go ahead and save it. If you want to do anything, you can go ahead and put a little icon for the service provider. That'll show up nicely on the login page here. But for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and create this IDMS specifically so that I can come in here and actually download the metadata from Kion. This will save me a fair bit of steps here. So now that I've got the metadata on this IDMS, I can come back to KeyCloak and go into the clients here. So what I'm going to do now is import the client as a new client here. So I'm going to import and take that metadata file. So here's where I can go ahead and add a client, choose the metadata file. I've got my client ID already set up, and here is where I can actually paste in the client SAML endpoint. And so essentially, we can see here, I went to clients, I click create, I've got my client ID and my protocol type, and in the client SAML endpoint field, I'm pasting my ACS URL. And so that I can go ahead and hit save now. I can give this a friendly name if I want. So I can say Kion, I could say cloud management here. And again, just following this in the settings tab, I can do the following if I want, right? So I can disable, back to KeyCloak. I can disable sign assertions. I can disable client signature required. And I can disable force name ID format, which is already disabled. So we're in good shape there. So I can go ahead and hit save there. And then you'll notice, right, I already have my key in place that I imported, so I can do encrypted assertions now, which is on by default. But let's go into mappers here. And so mappers are how you define what is going to pass over into the actual assertion. And so I'm going to add all of these, right? I want my email, my given name, my surname, as well as a list of roles here. Just go ahead and add those in, and those should be all set. But what I can do is this optional editing of assertions if I want. So we saw in the beginning I had set my assertions to these friendly URN or these system URNs. I can make them much more friendly if I want to give a name, surname, email. It doesn't particularly matter what I do there, but I have now configured these two to the point where I should be able to test this. So you want to make sure you have a KeyCloak user. The user that you're using here is an administrator, and that is not necessarily the same thing. And so what I'm going to do here is now I'm going to test. So KeyCloak, I am logged in as an admin, or actually I already had a session logged in as Randy Shore, which is why I was able to just log in perfectly. If I didn't, it would have taken me to KeyCloak to hit login and go ahead and do that. And just so we can actually take a look at sort of what's happening here, I'm going to log out and show you when I actually use the SAML Chrome panel, which is an extension. You could just search for SAML Chrome panel if you don't have one. We can actually look at the assertions here that are being passed through. And so I just logged in, and here I can see everything being passed through. There's my X509 certificate, and I have a whole cipher value for all of my assertions because I am encrypted here, right? However, if I want to just take a look, even maybe just for testing purposes, I can come back to the KeyCloak configuration and I can turn off encrypted assertions and go ahead and hit save. And I'm going to do a log out and log back in. Let me actually clear this out just so you can see how those assertions actually map over and what we look like. So there we go. And now you'll notice that we're getting a few things. So within here, here's that friendly name of email or the URN that I had put in for the email assertion, right? Or I could use the friendly name given name or the URN. Everything's configured here, but this is essentially how it's pulling in my email, how it's pulling in my first name, my last name, and then as a list of all the different roles that I have. In this case, within KeyCloak, many folks will map this back to groups and access and therefore define what you can and can't do inside of Kion. But that should be all that you need to do in order to configure these two tools to work together. So I'm going to turn encrypted assertions back on, and thank you so much. Please feel free to take a look at the support article. Just searching for KeyCloak within our integrations area or the main search should get you there. Otherwise, as always, please open a support ticket with us at support.kion.io. Thank you very much.